I've been asked this in the past. What's the one thing I hate doing on a car? What's the one job I hate doing? Well, I really dislike doing tires. I always have. I think it's because like one of my first jobs when I was even before I had a driver's license was I worked at a tire shop, and it's all we did was tires. And I think that's one reason why I might dislike them. I mean, I don't hate them. It's just, I just rather do something else. What's the one thing I hate more than that? Working on my own car. Because when do I get to work on my own car? When I'm done working on everybody else's car. So what do I got now? I'm working on my own car. And guess what I got to do? Tires. Let me show you what I got. Let me tell you a little story. So there's my Dodge Caravan up on the lift. It's got 220,000 miles on it. I absolutely love that van. I only need it to last another 10 years and maybe another 150,000 miles. So anyway, we were on a trip with it. We were at my daughter's farm, which is about 4 hours away. And this wasn't the past trip, this was the trip before. Now I knew I had front axles going bad. That I knew for a fact. I had a clicking noise out of one side, and I would get a vibration on the highway that would come and go. It would be, you know, if you're cruising, all of a sudden you'd feel like a and it'll go away, and it'll go away. Very, very mild. And if you were a passenger, you might not even pick up on it. But if you were driving, you were holding the steering wheel and everything else, you could feel it. So I knew I had to put axles in it. I knew they were going bad. And I figured instead of doing just one, I'm going to do a pair. Because of the mileage and everything else. Now, I have changed them before, but I probably put 100,000 miles on them. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to get a pair of axles for it. So I got the axles for it. I had them sitting here. And I figured after that trip, the previous trip, I was going to put the axles in. But then on the way back, now my wife drove this on, Nana Meg. She drove it on the way back because I drove that white Chevy pickup truck, the utility body truck. I drove that back. So she was driving this. We left at different times. So she's just about home, and she calls me and she says, "Man," she goes, "this thing is vibrating bad." So I'm like, all right, well, I know I got to do an axle, but I didn't think it would be that bad. I didn't think it would go that bad that quick. Well, that wasn't the axle. It was the tires. And let me show you. Now, I keep up with the maintenance on this, and I'm usually pretty good at, checking stuff out and replacing stuff when it needs to be replaced. But check this out. So here's the right front tire. And if you look, it still has decent tread on it. But it's starting to get a little bit, it's kind of hard to see here, it's starting to get a little bit of dry rot. We had these things put on in 2019. Meg actually was traveling down here when we lived in New York. She was traveling down here to visit our daughter, and she had a blowout. So I just had her get 4 new tires at that time. Luckily, where she was in Pennsylvania when it happened, and some very nice, I don't know the name of the shop, I wish I did. But they were very nice people. They handled everything very well. They accommodated my wife very well. They were great people. The pricing was very reasonable, and they did an excellent job. I wish I could remember their name because I give them a shout out right now. Maybe we'll find out their name and I'll give them a shout out another time. So, but check this out. So when I got it back, I took it from home and I drove it to work, and I'm like, wow, this thing's vibrating bad. I thought at first an inner joint seized up. But check this out. So the tire looks halfway decent there. Can you see that? That's a belt shift. The steel belt inside separated and shifted. And if you look close, you can see how bulged out that becomes. And if you look close, check that out. That's a steel cord sticking through the tire. There's a couple of them right there. Yep, they shifted and they started to come through. Now, I have no complaints with these tires. They were very good tires. They are Hankook's, Hankook Kinergy or something. I got no complaints, but it's what that other shop sold, and I had no complaints. They did great. It did very good in the snow that we had in New York. I mean, granted, we didn't have snow tires, so we kind of knew better. But in mild snow and stuff like that, it did fine. We had no issues. It was great in the rain. The thing never really hydroplaned or anything like that. Yes, it did hydroplane in certain spots where anybody else's car would have hydroplaned. I mean, they were very good tires. So I'm happy with them. I have no complaints. And like I said, we got it done in 2019. So we've probably put in excess of 40,000 miles on the tires. 0 complaints. So I got a new set of tires for this. I actually got a set of Coopers. I always like Coopers. I had very good luck with Coopers, so I'm going to be throwing those on there. Maybe I'll make a video on mountain balancing a tire so you see what it's like. Maybe some of you don't have no clue what's involved. So anyway, that's it. So I'm going to do a set of tires on this thing. I'm doing all 4, not just doing 2. I'm doing all 4. And I'm going to do the axles. So let me get going with this. But for now, if you guys are getting something out of my videos, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. That's it for now. Have a great day. Keep wrenching.